Hello, everyone, and welcome to D2C Dialogues. Today, we have with us Vinay Kothari, founder of Go Desi. I know many of you must have heard about Go Desi. Almost all of you must have heard about Go Desi, and many of you must have tried also. But what exactly is Go Desi all about? At Go Desi, the purpose is to make Desi popular. They want to make regional Desi products relevant and accessible to customers while ensuring quality and authenticity. They say we want to reinvigorate the Desi foods category by overcoming the barriers faced by it and widening its appeal and reach. In the process, we are also building a sustainable brand that becomes a beacon for non-zero sum capitalism, where all stakeholders win. We work directly with farmers, SHGs, and other rural businesses, enabling them to scale and capture a large proportion of consumer value in rural India. Go Desi is backed by Arukam Capital, Roots Ventures, DSG Consumer Partners. It was also a part of Upaya Agri Cohort, Wadhwani Foundation's FMCG Scale-up program, and incubated at IIM Bangalore. Welcome to D2C Dialogues, Vinay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hitesh. Glad to be here.
Can you tell us, Vinay, that when you stumbled upon the delightful jackfruit candy bars in the Western Ghat Islands, the unique flavor of the toffee sparked your entrepreneurial spirit and propelled you to establish Go Desi. So what is this story all about? How did this happen?
Maybe I'll just go deeper into the story. So I had found these, I was hiking on the Western Ghats, and when I was coming down, I found these jackfruit bars at a small chai shop. When I had these products, they were extremely yummy, and I just realized as to why are these awesome products not available in urban markets. And on inquiring from the retail store, they said that this is actually getting manufactured by a small self-help group. So when I went to the self-help group, I realized that they were not only making these jackfruit bars, but many other such products which were made from the local produce. And my entire previous experience at ITC, I worked at ITC for close to 8-10 years, and that's where there was this certain attraction towards consumer brands and food brands, and that's how I thought that okay, let's see if we can help this self-help group by selling their products in urban markets, and that's how the journey started. We took these jackfruit bars and set it up in a flea market, and that was basically the beginning of Go Desi. It was not really a thought-through process like, okay, this much big industry and therefore this is what we will get. It was a very iterative process, and now it's been 5 years, so this has been a small, exciting journey for us.
Could you tell us about the pivotal moment that you and your sister decided that this is what we want to do and get full-fledged into this as an entrepreneur?
I don't think there was any real, like a single moment that really happened. For us, it was just like one step after the other. The flea market happened. We got sold out at the flea market, and then we went and started selling at retail stores. There, our products were selling at a very fast pace. And then we got incubated at IIM Bangalore. So all of these small steps led to us realization that we're on to something, and then we will start building it. So there was not like one single moment, but the first 6 months where we were assisted by many stakeholders in the ecosystem, and also the response that our products really got. That's what made me believe that something large could be created out of this. It was just that the customer love and the consumer love was so big that we realized that, and with my experience at ITC, I realized that it is very rare that you hit upon a product which has such large customer love. And once you have something like this, then it was our responsibility. It felt like that it is a responsibility, that it is, luck has given us this great product, which has so much consumer love. So therefore, there's a responsibility on us to make this product reach as many consumers as possible. And that's how the entire piece and the entrepreneurial journey started for both me and my sister.
So was it one product or a portfolio of products that you had at that time?
So our runaway hit is a product called Desi Pop. It's basically a lollipop on a stick. It's a fruit pulp and a candy. So we all have had it in the past. It's basically tamarind and jaggery and salt, pepper, chili on an ice cream stick, and that is what was the runaway hit. And now today we have around 8 flavors in that outside tangy imli. So that was the runaway hit for us. And so one single product to answer your question.
Okay. And why IIM Bangalore and how did it help the incubation part?
I think I don't come from a startup background. So I obviously understood how a business is run because I'd done my business masters in business and worked with a large MNC as well. But there's a huge difference between working at a large MNC and running your own startup. So I think refining the idea into a company, into an organization is a very different process altogether. And that's where incubation from various platforms, whether it was Wadhwani Foundation or whether it was IIM Bangalore or whether it was Deshpande, they all helped in trying to mold us from just an idea to a company. So I think that journey was important, and that is where all these guys helped us.
So when this thing happened, the incubation got over and you got the experience to work with a couple of them.
Right.
What about by that time, and even in your previous experience, you knew, but as a company, there is a lot of things to do. And this is a product that needs to be manufactured. So what was your manufacturing strategy apart from the marketing and the supply chain that will come to, but to manufacture a product, because you got it from somebody and you sold it. But at this time you have been incubated and now the time has come that you start manufacturing. So how did that challenge was overcome?
So for the first 6 months, I think 3 to 6 months, we continued taking the product from the self-help group. We established certain quality parameters and certain manufacturing standards, which enabled us to take supply. So that during that process, what we essentially worked on was getting the product in the right format. That means the branding, the packaging, the hygiene part of it, and all of that. So during that period, we essentially focused on that. And also that period kind of helped us establish that there is a PMF in it, right? I mean, okay, the first day you might get sold out, the second day you guys might get lucky with another retailer. But when you start seeing that this product is getting traction across various platforms, that's when you realize that abhi product market fit aa gaya hai. So now how do you scale that backend? So when we started thinking about scaling the backend, we realized that owning, and because it was a cottage industry, owning the backend will be extremely important because you're trying to give a customer an experience, a brand experience in an unorganized category. So if you do not own the backend, the consumer will not get that brand experience. So you are standing next to the Dairy Milk and the Cadbury and the confectionery of perfetti of the world. So you have to give the same kind of experience in terms of packaging, branding, hygiene, standardization, etc. So you can't say that I'm just a cottage industry product and therefore give me some relaxation, but I want the same money. But the consumer does not care about that. So therefore we had to set up the entire backend, and that today I think that was one of the in hindsight best decision that we ever took, because of manufacturing our own pops right on day one. We understood a lot about the entire supply chain, right from backend, tamarind sourcing, jaggery sourcing. That enabled us to have really great gross margins, and at the same time, it also enabled us to control our new product development, our manufacturing practices, etc. So that was the entire thought process. So today we manufacture all our Desi pops, and currently we manufacture close to 3 lakh pops a day. So
3 lakh
yeah,
pops
a day.
Wow, that's phenomenal. One more part on the quality that you spoke about. It is evident, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you don't add refined sugar or preservatives and artificial colors, in your products. Could you elaborate on the rigorous testing and the sourcing processes that you ensure, your sweets, including real fruits, etc., provide an authentic and flavorful experience to the consumer?
Right. As I mentioned, because we were talking about branded experience, the backend was extremely important. And Raksha, who's my co-founder, basically worked the entire backend from scratch. So today we source our tamarind directly from farmers. Our jaggery is also sourced directly from farmers. And then that tamarind and jaggery go through multiple checks and processes. So we determine the pH level, the acidity of the tamarind. We do the checks. We ensure that the tamarind is clean. If you actually look at it, tamarind itself is a very unorganized commodity, right? So most of it is broken and harvested by local people. And in the hygiene is, I mean, if you actually go and see how tamarind is clean, then you would not have tamarind ever again. It's such a unhygienic process. So we had to set up that entire backend where we had to clean the tamarind, um, make sure that there are no fibers in the tamarind, the pH levels are standardized. So all of that part was taken care of. And then the second is we have our own, even our jaggery go to that level, that which sugarcane is that jaggery getting manufactured from. So we have kind of standardized that part. We have standardized what is the bricks level of the jaggery. So therefore you don't get a desi pop, different desi pops at different times, right? So again, coming from this entire part, that if you're giving a branded experience, it needs to be consistent within the parameters. So that rigorous testing was also established. So today we have our own lab within our manufacturing units, where every single batch is tested. We are FSSAI certified, we are FDA registered, and we also are undergoing many various other certifications for us to start exporting to European and US as well, North America as well. So those are things that we have set in motion, and so that's basically.
So idea happened, incubation happened, production happened, quality checks, etc. All things done. Now come to the marketing part of it. How did you? What was your thought process that I would, my product would reach the market overnight? What was the segment that you wanted to target, and how did you start your marketing, or let me put it, how did you start your sales?
So for the first 3 years, I think our marketing was equal to sales. So there was we didn't really differentiate between sales and marketing. So any whatever money that was getting put in had to result in sales. If it did not result in sales, then it was not. We did really spend, and that was also because of the resources that we currently had at that point of time. And the category that we operate in, which is impulse, I think the largest marketing piece for an impulse category is to be available. If you're not available, then no matter how much you are, you do branding activity or you even have a celebrity, etc., it does not really make sense because it's not a planned purchase. So availability was the largest marketing tool, to be honest. So to be able to be put on the cash counter in front of the consumer. So we invested a lot on our packaging, design, on the way the package is presented on the cash counter. And that was where our marketing budget was essentially spent. So for first 3 years, we essentially only focused on making sure that the product is available and it is visible when the consumer is trying it, specifically at retail outlets. And in offline and in online, we basically made sure that we are visible in the category when the consumer is searching for us. So we didn't really do branding activities as such, right? Only in the 5th year, when we have started achieving some amount of scale, is where we are going into a branding activity where we are trying the consumer to relate to not only relate to the product, but also to the brand. So not only to the functionality, but also to the emotive aspects of the brand. But I think that is a very long process and it will take its time. That's where we have just started right now. But initially, our entire focus, as you asked, what was the start of marketing was equal to sales for us.
I remember Desi Pops even became Amazon's fastest selling confectionery in 2019. Now, how did this happen? Yeah, so this is a remarkable achievement. How did you make this happen?
I think today also we are the number one in the candies and mints as a category, not only on Amazon but also on Flipkart and all the other quick commerce players. In certain categories, we have almost 18 to 20% market share in these platforms. To be honest, if you would ask me why, I don't really know. I think it was just the format of the product and the reason the product was unique. It was solving a problem that consumers had, which is products that they would love to have but are not accessible. Now, accessibility could be because of two reasons, which is A, wo available nahi hai, or two, it is even if it is available, I will not go. So for example, if it's available on a thela gadi, I don't feel like picking it up because I don't know ki hygienic hai, nahi hai, and so on and so forth. So we made sure that our product was available and accessible. And once that happened, I think because the uniqueness of the product, it just kept on selling. So trials is very, very important for us. And as I mentioned in the previous answer as well, just making sure the product was available kind of helped us reach those goals of the leading candies and brands on Amazon today.
Can you tell us something about your operations? You did touch upon the international part of it, but overall, if you can brief us about your operations.
I think operations is one of our strengths as a FMCG because our ambition to is build a FMCG company, and I realized a lot of it needs to be about how tight your operations are run. Now that could be right from how much raw material and packaging material that you are buying, to how much finished goods that you have, to how much stock do you have at your own warehouse, how much stock do you have at retailer, wholesaler, distributor, and how much and therefore the aging of the inventory, because we're selling a product which expires, right? It's not like a fan which will stay with you for 12 years even if you manufacture, or say for a personal care which will have a shelf life of 3 years. So a watertight operation is extremely critical. So from day one, we have invested in things to automate our entire backend. We have implemented ERP. I think we are one of the smallest in terms of turnover to have implemented an ERP system, which enables us to have that efficiencies, and it will give us those small delta margin savings, which eventually in the long run will become extremely important. So our operations are typical of any FMCG organization, but we have tried to run it as a very, very tightly controlled operation, so that our working capital is our capital is not stuck in working capital, but it's more stuck in long-term activities like brand building, etc.
Where all can I find Go Desi product? Vinay? Yeah, Vinay.
Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Where all can I find a Go Desi product? If online, offline, which states, national, international?
So online, you can find us on almost every single platform, which is Amazon, Flipkart, quick commerce platforms, etc. You can also find us on our own website, which is www.godesi.in. In terms of offline, you can find us in multiple retail outlets. We're very strong in the south. So Karnataka, we are currently available in 25,000 retail outlets across the country, like monthly, and maybe 40,000 would be our coverage. We're very strong in Karnataka, Karnataka and AP. If you don't find it in your nearest neighborhood store, Instamart, Zepto will be able to deliver our products within 30 minutes.
In 20 minutes. And what is your perception on quick commerce? Has that changed the game for you?
Definitely. I think it has made online impulse buying much more easier. Earlier, platforms like Flipkart and Amazon did not really, and even Big Basket did not really optimize for impulse purchases. Impulse purchases, they were more optimized on planned purchases and search-related purchases, which don't really happen in impulse as a category. So now with the advent of Zepto and Instamart, the size of the industry online is slowly growing and growing at a very rapid pace. So the share earlier, maybe confectionery or impulse category would less than 1% would come from online. Now with the advent of quick commerce, that share in the overall sales of the industry is increasing. So it will be interesting to see how that gets transformed as quick commerce goes deeper into cities and other locations.
So what about the unit economics if you are selling online? If you can share some light there, because the product is an impulse product and it's a low value product. So don't you, where does the profitability comes from then? Obviously it is there, but the question is.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. No, it's a very valid question. For us, so for example, let me break it down by channel. For our website, our average order value is approximately 420 to 450 rupees. So in that case, we are able to make money on every single order. And similarly on Amazon as well, our average order value is higher and Amazon buys outright from us. So they club the purchases. So we don't really deal with the logistics. So they club the purchases and they make sure we give them a fixed margin, and that fixed margin is again profitable for us in that sense. So they make sure that that the shipping is done along with other products that a consumer will buy. So the consumer might not buy only Desi Pops, might buy an entire grocery basket. So I don't know how it works for them, but what I'm assuming is that they club it with other purchases for it to make sense. Similarly, on Zepto, Instamart, or any of these quick commerce platforms, they buy it outright from us, and then they take care of the shipping and the charges. All we have to make sure is that we deliver it to them, and also we are available in etc.
What would be your online and offline sales percentage? What would be the sales percentage online and offline?
Today we do around 35% online and 65% offline.
35% online.
Yes, yes.
And you started as an offline brand.
Yeah, we started as an offline brand. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is, I think this is very impressive that, starting offline and then you moved online and you have got 35% share from online. What is the major reason for this, Vinay?
I think we were early movers in the online front, though the industry is small online, but we are being able to get a larger share of the industry. So that's how it has enabled us to get to the numbers we are. Obviously, as we scale, we believe that offline, because the industry lies in offline, our share of offline sales will become larger. But yeah, we will explore any channel and every channel which comes our way. We want to be there everywhere where our consumer is. So it for us, all channels are a means to reach our consumers, and we don't have a preference of one channel to another.
So talking about the consumers, the channels are there. It will be online or offline. But one thing that keeps changing is the consumer preference, consumer choice, consumer taste. And the Indian confectionery industry is poised to be close to around $3.7 billion, in 26. At Go Desi, how do you, what is your vision, or how do you, plan to take care of the ever-changing consumer tastes and preferences vis-a-vis your products?
So I think our mission in Go Desi is to make Desi popular. So all our products and everything, all our strategy is driven by that entire key mission statement. So for us, being a startup, I think that becomes an advantage in keeping on trying newer and newer products, and therefore be relevant to the consumers' changing tastes and preferences. What we have realized is, rather than focusing on what is changing, and I think this I've read and learned from Jeff Bezos in his book. He says that, it's more important to focus on what things don't change, because there are a lot of things which don't change and remain constant. Like, for example, humans will always feel hungry. And then if you focus on that larger need state and then create things which will not change, and strategies based on things will not change, that would be more helpful. So what we realized is that Indian preferences to chatpata stuff, Indian preferences to Indian products, to Indian taste and palate will not change, and therefore our products are completely customized to that entire insight, and that's how we essentially work in terms of making sure that our products are up to what consumers is asking for in the future and in today.
So are you going to diversify your product portfolio in the coming days, weeks, and months? Is there a strategy to that aspect?
Sure. I think, as I mentioned, we will get into any category. As and when the time, right now, we are really heavily focused on the impulse category, but eventually we would want to play in every single category where there is a unorganized or a regional small brand. And basically we will get into those categories where we have the opportunity to standardize that and get share from the unorganized industry and the regional brands.
Any example, Vinay?
Yeah. So another category that we're getting into is Desi Meetha. So the insight there was that if you could have a chocolate at a 5 rupee or 10 rupee price point like Dairy Milk or 5 Star, why can't you have a burfi at a 5 rupee and 10 rupee price point as well? So that's another price place that we are seeing. So again, these categories exist from before. It's not that we have invented these categories. All we are trying to do is to organize and create a branded experience in these categories.
Okay. Vinay, you've got a funding close to 7.5 million, and how important was this in the life cycle of Go Desi? And what would be your plans for how are you planning to use this? Rather, me answering or asking, I would like to know from you how important this is in Go Desi's life cycle, and how do you plan to use this?
No, it's extremely important to have backing from investors, and as we are getting on to build on this journey to build a large consumer brand. Um, this funding has been extremely instrumental in maybe boosting our growth and growth cycle. Building a consumer brand in a large country like India takes time, effort, as well as money, and therefore, I mean, there's no denying to the fact that this funding is extremely instrumental in the pace of growth that we have seen over the last few years, and it's going to be instrumental as we continue to build a very large, with our ambition of building a large organization. And how do we plan to use this money? Our main focus is to use this money to strengthen our backend and build a brand. When I say build a brand, it's a brand where consumers know Go Desi and ask for Go Desi by name. That would be what our eventual aim would be. So these are the two areas where we will be focusing and investing.
Ask Go Desi by name. And I think that's what the overall target and the goal should be. When people come on the counter and say, please give me Go Desi. What is your vision for the next 5 years, Vinay, in terms of where do you see Go Desi at current stage and going 5 years ahead, where it would be?
So we want to build a large consumer brand in terms of numbers that looks like a 500 crore kind of a top line for us, a profitable consumer brand in the next 4 to 5 years. That's our goal, and that would translate into being available in many more number of outlets across the country. That will also translate into maybe newer categories and translate into a business which creates employment for thousands of people across the country.
So to achieve 500 crores, you definitely will require reach. That is the network. You'll require products, and you'll definitely require people also to make that.
Sure.
I've heard that Go Desi empowers 70 women, or up to 90% of your workforce is women. How important is women empowerment and inclusiveness to you?
I think the numbers have slightly updated now. We employ close to 250 women in our units across Karnataka. I think for us, more than when a lot of people talk about, a lot of businesses talk about impact as an output of the business. For us, impact is essentially an input. What that means is that we don't see, and therefore it becomes extremely important. We don't see it as a we grow big and therefore we lead to so much employment. We see it the other way around. That if we hire so many women, and because they know how the authentic way of making these products, and they make the product, the authenticity kind of translates to the consumer, and therefore we become popular. So it's extremely important for us to actually source directly from farmers, actually source directly from tamarind, because that enables us to give the quality that our consumers demand. And additionally, the employment of women also leads to creation of the pops in a very authentic, traditional manner, which again leads to consumer preference of our product over other machine-made products. So therefore, it becomes an input rather than an output. And therefore, it's an extremely integral part of our journey.
Coming to the last part of the question. Um, what do you see? How do you see the D2C industry today, especially in the food industry? Because as we discussed, the margins are extremely less, and the viability and the feasibility doesn't happen in all the business models. So where do you see the food industry, especially from a D2C perspective, not the offline perspective?
From the D2C perspective, I feel as the country adopts online purchasing and it continues to adopt online purchasing, there will be models which will be created which will enable purchase of food products online more efficient. And therefore, the players who have gotten today and have established some sort of traction in some platforms would lead the way in terms of at least the online market for food as an industry, for packaged food as an industry. So yes, and this will also create create a very fast-paced way of creating certain products which will solve large consumer problems, which would have not been possible if it was only driven through an offline business. Just to give you an example, it's like online enables consumers with needs getting connected from different parts of the country. So if, for example, if you have a vegan milk, and now there will be only a select few customers in the area or the city that I am in. So maybe Indiranagar in Bangalore and maybe South Bombay in Bombay, there would be a larger customers. Now, to be able to service them through offline would become extremely inefficient because I'll have to have very few select of number of outlets. But being online, all of these customers get aggregated onto one single platform, and that enables larger consumer brands to get established. And hence, I feel that a lot of these niche categories will have newer brands coming in, and some of these niche categories will become big, and hence those brands would also become big. So that's what my opinion on D2C is.
Okay. Now we'll go to the rapid fire round where I'm going to ask you 7-8 questions, and
Sure.
It's a rapid fire. So, on the
Thank
spot
you.
answers.
Sure.
Vinay. What is your favorite Go Desi product?
Desi Pop.
Desi Pops. What is the most memorable customer feedback you have received?
Lots of customer feedback. Just like my kid loves it. We've got videos of kids having it and then just enjoying it. So yeah, those have been really memorable.
If you could collaborate with any celebrity for an endorsement, who would it be?
Collaborate. Maybe Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan. Okay. What is the most challenging aspect of running a brand like Go Desi?
Everything is challenging. There's no easy stuff.
There is no easy stuff. Okay. If you had to describe Go Desi's brand personality in 3 words, what would they be?
Fun, loud, and comfortable with oneself. Proud.
Fun, love, and proud.
Yeah.
If you could give one superpower to products, Go Desi products, what would it be?
Being available at every single outlet in the country.
That's a big thing to have. Then your vision gets fulfilled. If you could describe the future of your brand in one word, what would it be?
Inspiration for many other sustainable brands across the world.
Inspiration. Very good. Name one brand you see as your closest competitor.
I mean, our largest competitor is the unorganized sector. So unfortunately, they don't have really brands.
Okay. So final, Vinay, your final advice to budding entrepreneurs, especially in the food industry, something similar to what you are doing.
I think that's what I was discussing with the team today. Being persistent and being at it every single day. I think persistence beats talent every single time.
Thank you, Vinay. I think being persistent is the word that you have said for the budding entrepreneurs. And it's ultimately persistency that will, make you win. We are very thankful to you, Vinay, for coming on D2C Dialogues.
It was a
And we
pleasure.
wish you all the best to achieve your 500 crores turnover for the next 5 years as a target. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was nice.